Welcome, professional wrestling fans, to the PW Fan. The PW Fan is a pro wrestling podcast created by the fans for the fans. And thank you for joining us. This is episode 92 on the road to 100. I am your host, the grumpy old school wrestling fan, collector, and barber of Talk Wrestling, Tim Gilbert.
And I'm your host, the architect of pro wrestling podcast, Funko Pop collector, Booker Andy.
I'm also your host, the No Silent Wrestling Indie fan and football lover, Jeremy.
All right, well, I got my two favorite people with me here today as we talk a little pro wrestling, and that's spelled R-A-S-S-L-I-N. Today, we will be talking about Dark Side of the Ring. As promised, you know, we said that we were going to talk about it last week, and here we are. We got Blood and Guts, and we got Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso, and more. So we got some good stuff to talk about. Stick around to the end of the show where we will talk about my classic show of the week recommendation. I guess before we get started on the show, if you all are sitting behind your keyboard right now, go to youtube.com/@thepwfan and hit that subscribe button where we keep all of our video content, all of our episodes on video, merch on prowrestlingtees.com/thepwfan. And all other social media, you just look up at the PW Fan, and we should pop right up. Well, that takes care of the intro stuff. Andy, we got a good show this week. I know we're going to probably jump right in the dark side first. Did you have anything that you wanted to cover before we get into that?
I might as well say it now. I was going to say it after, but Dominic Mysterio won the Champion of the North American title from Wesley in NXT. Of course, with the help of the Judgment Day. But yeah, Dominic Mysterio now holds gold.
Dirty Dom's a champion now.
Dirty Dom.
Got a big reaction.
Did you watch it?
So,
Yeah.
You're watching NXT now?
Well, I watched it because everybody on the Twitter machine was saying how big of a deal it was and how the crowd was hot and they were freaking out. And then Figure 4 Online, whatever that guy's name is, who Brian Alvarez, yeah, he was making a big deal about it, so I went and watched it.
Also, it's not the Twitterverse anymore. You know, they're changing it to X.
The Elonverse.
It's so stupid. But
they're just changing it to
anyways.
X?
well, that's like the logo now. It's like some X.
Elon was like, I couldn't name my kid this, so I'm going to name my company.
Oh, I guess it makes sense. The SpaceX, Twitter's going to be X.
Yeah, but it's like, for Twitter, it makes no sense. You're taking away all the branding, change it to the stupid X. Which, the X is already someone else's X that they're using, so that's a whole other thing.
I could be bought out. Let's say the Elon Musk. Let's say Elon Musk says, guys,
You wanted to use the PW Fan?
I need that PW Fan domain. Here's a few mil for it. I mean, you can have it.
Immediate yes.
We'll just change our name to something else.
Other than the Dominic stuff, though, before we get into the show, like Tim mentioned, want to go over Dark Side of the Ring. We were going to cover 2 weeks worth of Dark Side of the Ring. That way you guys could catch up. I'm going to pass it over to you, Tim, though, because I think you watched them most recently. Jeremy was not able to see the Adrian Adonis one, but you both saw the Abdullah one recently. You want to talk a little bit about both?
Yeah, so the Adrian Adonis one, I didn't really know much about him. So basically I don't want to, I always feel bad summarizing these dudes' lives. Like, oh, they were this and this and this, and then, then he died and he was a wrestler. But he was from New York. He was like a New York, kind of tough guy growing up. And he, when he broke into wrestling, that was very much like part of his character. Like, he was like very tough, no nonsense type thing. And for whatever reason, and this is like seriously the shortest synopsis. I know someone's like, Jesus Christ, there was way more than that. But for whatever reason, when he goes to WWF, they decided to change his character to be like the Gorgeous George, more flamboyant character, wearing makeup.
He was
and
like a
blonde
tough guy
hair.
with a leather jacket and stuff.
Right, he was like, "Hey, what's going on, boss?" Like that kind of thing. And then all of a sudden they switched to
Like Andrew Dice Clay, the comedian,
right,
kind of
Yeah.
thing. Or almost like the Brooklyn Brawler.
Yeah.
Is that more of a?
Yeah, I mean, he was from Buffalo, New York, but I don't think that's where he spent most of his time. But yeah, he became AWA Tag Team Champions. That was like some of his accolades before getting into WWE. But I think he's best well known for Adrian Adonis, the flamboyant WWF character. Some stuff about his. What was it, Andy? About
Well, he
the
would end
van?
up passing away on a tour.
Because the
He would
van
end up
crashed.
passing away on a tour. Van crashed. There's a lot of speculation of what happened. You know, was someone drunk? Did I think rain or something come into it? But a couple of wrestlers died, I believe. Him. I mean, I feel bad saying another guy, but a guy that he was a tag team partner with his twin brother. The twin brother survived the crash, but the other twin ended up passing away. And I feel like there was another person in there, and I'm sorry that, I don't remember who or if there was, but, yeah, I mean,
his
apparently
real
he
name-
was pretty well respected, though. Everyone liked him.
Yeah, real name Keith Andis Frank. One of the big things is he lost some weight before getting ready to go back to WWF.
Because he had gained a lot of weight
Yeah, he had gained a lot
in
of
his
weight.
time off between.
Yeah, and so he was preparing for a big comeback.
And he was
before
never
had a-
super in shape,
no,
by the way.
but he just
but
got
he could
bigger.
move. He was like a bigger guy, but he could move very well, though. Like a small guy, or like a thinner guy.
There's a couple different stories. There's one that they were blinded by the sun, and they flew off the bridge. There was one that an animal walked out in the middle of the road, and they tried to swerve. The people that were there, Andy, didn't they say that it was an animal?
People that, yeah. They said they had to swerve out of the way of something. I just
Of something?
can't remember exactly what.
I know. I hate coming
I
unprepared.
watched
for
it
this.
3 weeks ago. I'm trying to remember.
I watched it 2 weeks ago, so the Abdullah one, I should have taken notes on it so I'd be more organized in my speech here. But
we
let's
can
move
pop
on
over to the Abdullah one because it's
Yeah.
So again, you saw it within the past few days, and Jeremy, you saw it recently too, I believe. Tell us a little bit about it. It was a weird episode. I'll say
I thought
that
it
right
was-
off the bat.
It talked a little bit about him breaking in and just how much fear he struck into people as the character of Abdullah the Butcher. Mick Foley's in it, talking about how he would protect the
Mick
gimmick.
Foley was
like,
influenced by him. He had a picture of him on his wall.
and told everybody he was his
that
dad.
Mick Foley part. Yeah, when Mick Foley was talking about him, and he was like, he never saw him blade because he was so good at it, which is crazy that Mick Foley would say something like that.
So his blades were in his
Apparently-
fingertips.
And he would,
Yeah.
if you're watching on video right now, you'll see me. He would, because if you're not going to rewatch the episode, I mean, it's pointless. But what he would do is he had the blade in the tape of his fingertips, and he would quickly, apparently, just tap himself real quick and get like little cuts.
He did it during the interview, I believe.
Yeah.
Because this is one of the
This is
few
crazy.
Dark Side of the Rings where the guy it's actually about was talking.
Yeah, he's still alive and talking.
I really don't know how. I mean, he was a legend across the country. He never wrestled for the WWF.
He never worked for.
Yeah.
They didn't know how to make what he did work. He was big in Puerto Rico with Carlos Colon,
Big in Japan, very big.
and like
in Japan.
Bruiser, and like with Bruiser Brody, like that era.
Yeah, I thought
Big
that
in
was
Japan,
interesting that he was big in Japan.
I mean, they had cartoons about him.
and he even
Yeah.
He even did indies up until a really late time. And there was a whole controversy with the wrestler Hannibal, and there was a court case because of
This
HIV.
whole thing was so. It was not HIV. It was hepatitis C.
Or hepatitis
yeah.
C, sorry.
They need an episode on Hannibal as well, I think.
Yeah, he needs his own
And
episode.
Hannibal is the guy that took like a spike to the ref a couple years ago. And this is after he had already, went to court for Abdullah, and then he does kind of a messed up thing like that too, which is kind of on the same lines. But
yeah, Abdullah. Sorry, I was gonna say Abdullah reused his blades. I don't think he cleaned them, right? That's why, it was a whole thing because of hepatitis C, and then he would.
So the whole thing is he bladed Hannibal instead of Hannibal blading himself.
Yeah,
but he had already bladed himself before he bladed Hannibal, and he being Abdullah, pronouns pal, had hepatitis C.
And also there was this whole thing of, did Abdullah get taken advantage of? Could he read? Could he not read? Apparently he could read food menus. It was just,
I didn't know what that whole thing was weird.
It was a weird episode.
That one was weirdly, a lot of episodes have been sad, I guess. They've been sad. Obviously, it's when you're dealing with the death of somebody, but
yeah,
this one felt weird and dark and depressing, weirdly depressing than the rest of them, even though nobody died.
Yeah.
It just was
it was definitely more weird because he was still alive and interviewed in it too.
And he didn't seem like he's either the best liar ever, or he genuinely doesn't understand what he did wrong. I don't know. I don't know.
he's aloof, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know which one is the real. I can't tell. Normally, I feel like being a barber and talking to so many people, I can pick up on things pretty quick, and I don't know. Here's the problem: is Hannibal's not a great guy either, right? So it's both it's I don't know what's real,
Yeah. So I just looked it up. So he said he claimed he only had a second-grade education. Mm-hmm. Abdullah.
Yeah, I could read in first grade, but.
Oh, okay, yeah, dude.
That's when they taught us. So I don't know.
But Mick Foley, who's Honest Abe, he was I don't know, man. He's I've been out with him and I've seen him.
Seen him order.
Mick Foley was I'm very surprised to hear that. Basically, so that's why I'm I don't know what's real. I don't know who to believe.
Yeah.
So next week we'll be talking about the episode coming out this week, which will be Bam Bam Bigelow. I think that'll be interesting.
That'll be a good one.
I'm really looking forward to whenever. I'm sure maybe it'll be the last one. Maybe they're saving it for episode 10. Marty Jannetty. That one's going to be live.
Yeah.
They're saving it. Also, Marty Jannetty thinks that this Dark Side episode is going to be good for him. And I just have a feeling that it's not going to be.
I don't know what any Dark Side episode is good for anyone if you're on it.
It would have been good. It would have been good for New Jack if he hadn't have passed. He apparently got a whole resurgence of his career after that. But
oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Anyway, I was just thinking. I was New Jack's another episode at the time that it was about him and he was on it. It wasn't long after though. I believe he passed.
Right.
Because that man had no remorse, so it was a weird episode.
Side note, Hannibal underwent some sort of experimental thing to not have Hep C anymore. I didn't even know that was a thing or possible. So there's I don't know.
Does he not have it anymore?
Yeah, apparently doesn't have it anymore. That's what they said in the documentary. I didn't even know that was real.
Okay.
Interesting.
All right, well, let's get into Raw. Let's actually begin the show now, guys. Cody's becoming like Orange Cassidy. He's opening up the shows.
Open the show.
So what do you guys want to talk about?
Not as much as Orange Cassidy. Which is funny. I saw someone tonight as Raw is on. There's a sign in the crowd that says, "Cody, change your catchphrase." So Cody opens up the show, of course, talking about Brock Lesnar. And they're in Atlanta. Cody's getting, like, teared up. His mom's in the front row.
He's cried too much in the past few years.
Yeah, he knows it, though. He's mentioned it in interviews. He's like, Cody's going to get emotional. Yeah, we are going to mention it. So Brock would end up coming out after, Cody goes to the back after his promo. And as soon as he goes to the back, Brock would end up, I guess, tossing Cody out. Before this, Brock's music would play, I believe, twice.
Yeah. And he did
he would
like,
end up
a weird strut into the back of the arena. And they got thrown out. And that's like a meme now.
So yeah, Brock would end up, though, demolishing Cody in front of his family. His mom could have sold it better.
It was better than John Cena's dad, as always said.
That's true. That was a little bit too much.
Yeah.
So then we had a match between Riddle and Gunther. Gunther would end up defeating Riddle. Rhea Ripley would attack Raquel Rodriguez backstage, injuring her knee. And then we would have a segment with the Judgment Day coming up. And I believe all members, they came out, they gave a promo about each of their various feuds and storylines. Dominic was booed way too much, he couldn't even talk. Then Kevin and Sami would end up coming out, they would talk a little smack. And this led to Damian Priest challenging them to put on the tag titles on the line in a match. KO, of course, got angry. And so that would lead to a match being set up for the main event, which would be Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus Judgment Day.
Speaking of Judgment Day, real quick, did you see Seth Rollins on Logan Paul's podcast?
Yes.
He called Dominic.
Talked about Dom.
He said, what did he say? He said,
I like that interview. That was fun.
He said one of the best heels ever.
Do you think he was being, like, sarcastic, though?
I hope so. That was way too strong of a line for me, though.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't seem so serious when he said it. He's like, yes, one of the best heels ever. Like, that kind of, like, is how he said it. He said, Dirty Dom. They recorded that podcast the day of Money in the Bank, so it was like, but it came out a little later. Raquel and Liv Morgan would have a tag team championship match against Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville, but because Rhea attacked Raquel earlier in the night, Raquel couldn't really compete to the point, that she normally is able to. So winners and new women's tag team champions, Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville. What you guys think? Sonya or Chelsea Green has gold now. Matt Cardona, her boyfriend, would end up wearing it at an indie show.
Oh, so good.
And then
WWE did not care.
And then Cardona said, "I am one half of the tag team champions." And then
because he said me and Chelsea share everything.
Yeah, and then Mike Cardona's manager said, "I am one half of of the WWE Tag Team Women's Champions. I'm 12.5%, and I don't even work there." It was a great promo.
That was so funny.
Dude, Matt Cardona.
I'm glad though to see
heel Matt Cardona on the Indies is just heel Matt Cardona on the Indies is fucking hilarious. Where he's like, no more.
He's doing great.
No more of this. Bring your own water. BIW or BYW. He's like, we need some water. We need to hydrate.
There's a rumor out there, or really people thinking for some reason, that Matt Cardona is going to help Cody win at SummerSlam. But
Matt Cardona's making more money than he's made in WWE.
Yeah.
Also, Matt Cardona makes more money from.
Yeah, I think so. One of his best friends and girlfriend are there now.
Yeah.
Here's the
problem.
Here's the problem.
Go on.
I listen to Major Pod. It's besides Corny's podcast, it's my favorite podcast. So the thing that
besides
Matt
PW fan.
Well, of course. But that's different. It's our freaking baby. But so Matt and Brian Myers and Smart Mark Sterling from AEW, they're the hosts of that show, and they basically talk about it all the time. Like Matt and Brian will be like, not that I wouldn't want to go back to WWE. They're like, but let me tell you this. They always say it. They're like, there's no way in fucking hell we'll ever give up the podcast. Like, if it was signed with WWE, but you have to give up the podcast, they're like, we won't do it. So, whatever deal, if Matt ever goes back, it's going to be with the deal that he can keep doing all the stuff that he's doing, because he apparently, he makes more money just doing his podcast and doing appearances now than he did wrestling. So, or that he did in WWE.
Yeah.
But he also said, when I was a kid, Brian Myers wanted to be a pro wrestler when he was a kid. And Matt Cardona, Zack Ryder, has been quoted, and he just said again recently, he said, look, if the phone call came, let me say this. He's like, when I was a kid, I didn't want to be a pro wrestler. I wanted to be a WWE superstar. He's like, so there's that. So, I mean, I don't think it's out of the question that he would ever show up. But he said that there'd be some things that have to happen, too. He has to keep the podcast, and he says he's not doing anything without that girl, STL, Steph DeLander. He says that she's part of his package now. She's his manager, and if he goes to a different company, she has to come with him and do the same thing, so...
Well, he probably wants to keep his gimmick and not come back as...
He's not gonna... Did you see he did Indie Taker?
I don't know how that would work, though. I don't know how you could do that, though.
He did Indie Taker. He wore an Undertaker outfit, called himself the Indie Taker, and was, like, taking everybody out.
Have you seen Blue Cane?
Blue Cane?
Blue Cane's not real. He can't hurt you. Yeah, there's a Blue Cane on the Indies.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
It's literally the old school like Attitude Era Kane, but the red is blue. Like but you got to think Chelsea Green is there, and so is Cody from Matt Cardona. So that on top of everything probably sells it a little bit for him. But speaking of Cody, before we continue, I personally am super stoked for his documentary that's coming out on Peacock. I think it looks super interesting. Oh, yeah. They're going to mention the original All In. Cody, made it, or was adamant about it being in there because it's hard to tell the story of where he came from and how he was able to take a chance on himself and all those guys without mentioning All In. Because without All In, you don't have AEW.
AEW is going to be in it?
Probably.
Or is it going to be All In?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, they show him with the Ring of Honor belt and things. If you're going to mention Ring of Honor, why not mention AEW? I mean...
Well, because I think, like, Ring of Honor is not on TV, and they're not, like... They're still not...
WWE's mentioned, like, AJ's TNA stuff and shown clips of him, like...
Yeah.
When he first got there. I don't know. We'll see. I feel like... I mean, they talk about... how Vince flew to him and how he didn't want anything changed. And so we'll see. They've invested a lot in Cody. And I think in order to tell the full story of how Cody went from the undesirable to undeniable thing, you got to be able to tell the full story.
Did anybody else pop when he
did
the...
when it comes out, I want to...
Did anybody else...
when it comes out, I want to be able to review it with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Did anybody else pop when he did the Stardust cartwheel in that match? I thought that was, like, weirdly awesome.
Yeah.
At WrestleMania?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah. I think you and me were watching Mania this year together. Yeah. So where were we? All right, let's get back to it, though. Raw. So Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler had a segment with Ronda Rousey up in the stands after Shayna's win over Nikki Cross. I don't know if you guys knew. So the plan was to eventually have them go against each other, but not this quick. But Ronda gave WWE a hard date of when she's done.
Yeah.
And so they had to rush things. Their title run as champions was supposed to be long. But it was always going to end with her against Shayna. So they had to rush it, so they didn't have the belts for even a month, I don't think.
So they doing this match at SummerSlam?
Yeah. I believe so. And then Ronda, I think, is done.
Yeah, so Shayna's going to win then.
Yep. So there was a backstage interview at some point with Finn Balor and Seth Rollins, which it was like a sit-down interview, and Finn would end up attacking Rollins, I believe. And then we had Miz TV with Becky Lynch as the guest. Trish and Zoe Stark would come out, and they would end up attacking Becky to end the whole segment. Then our main event was Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus Judgment Day, Damian Priest, and Dominic Mysterio. Rollins would attack Balor beforehand, and the winners of the match were Owens and Sami Zayn. You guys have anything to add before we continue?
I don't have anything to add on that. That was actually the only show this week I don't feel like I finished.
Well, then let's get into Dynamite. Dynamite this week was
Dynamite,
Blood
Raw,
and Guts,
or,
a.k.a.
Dynamite,
War
Smackdown,
Games.
everything I'm all caught up on.
Dynamite,
Games.
Blood and Guts, a.k.a. War Games. Jungle Boy would bury literally his persona of Jungle Boy. They would show him out in the desert, pulling a body in the ground. So then we had Jack Perry versus Hook for the FTW Championship.
What did you guys... Hold on. Sorry. Before you say that, what about his entrance, his new...
So his entrance was to Beethoven.
Yeah.
I know Tim's liking this version of Jack Perry.
You like that?
You want to talk about the gear, Tim, and the entrance?
I love it.
And
I'm in. Why are you guys not in, dude? Dude, Jungle Boy
his boots are
dope.
better. They're the same boots with like the little flaps on them, but they're black.
Things I never
And now
thought
he's
I'd
wearing
say.
like tights.
Dude,
He's
Jungle
grown
Boy
on me. He's grown
is
on
the
me.
man.
I don't know. That music I need to hear it a few
I
more
don't like the music. I
times.
don't think it fits though. But
Yeah, I don't think it really fits either, but...
it's Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. It's symphony.
Well, yeah,
Really?
that's
Okay.
a poor choice.
But winner and new FTW champion, Jack Perry.
Yeah.
Surprise.
I mean, he probably won a singles title.
Yeah, one that doesn't really count, but
Yeah, one that's not recognized by
it's first ever. Just fought the New Japan champion, and then becomes
it's
FTW
FTW.
champion.
Yeah.
All right, we had a blind eliminator tag tournament final. MJF and Adam
Oh,
Cole
okay.
versus. Go on.
Sorry, can I also just say this? Because I always remember this because Taz was upset on commentary after that match. And then they had that shark costume guy come behind him.
Oh,
and he's
'cause
like,
Shark
don't touch
Week.
me. And
Yeah.
Taz was like, don't touch me, don't come near me.
Oh, dude, Taz
He's
was
like all
like,
pissed off.
Yeah, that's.
oh, that's the thing. Taz is like fun and Taz can be funny and fun in games, but I still think at the same time he's like, all right, that's too much. He's like, don't fucking come
Yeah.
over. Don't come over to me in your fucking shark costume, or I'm gonna throw you off the stage.
Shivani's like, what's the problem? He's like, go over to Taz.
He's like, no. It's like when they
All
tried
right,
to
guys.
get.
I want.
It's like when they kept trying to get Undertaker to do the spinner Rooney for like an hour, and then finally he just left the ring and wouldn't do it.
You take a Rooney.
Yeah, he wouldn't do it. He like even Vince McMahon came down and like Triple H, and they all did the spinner Rooney, and he was still like no.
He's like, no.
And left.
I'm on your guys' thoughts on this next segment. Blind Eliminator
loved
Tag
it.
Tournament Final. MJF and Adam Cole versus Sammy Guevara and Daniel Garcia. They have a new combined entrance song, and then before the match started, there was a dancing segment.
Dance off.
Yes, there was a dance-off. What you guys think of the dance-off, Tim?
Oh no.
Adam Cole. I mean, I get it. It was a comedy thing, because MJF's like, oh, like it was terrible.
Yeah.
I guess it's fine. I don't know.
Right.
I didn't
Here's the thing.
expect it,
People
but
liked it.
yeah.
People liked it, and people want to see these guys doing this right now. So, my personal taste aside of me wanting to just see some serious shit, I did laugh. I'm just worried about like making MJF do silly stuff. It's just that's the only I'm protective of his thing that he does, you know, like
Well, you know, he's gonna do all that silly stuff, but then
He's
in
gonna
the
turn
end,
on
he's gonna turn.
we all know.
Yeah, and then he's gonna go back to serious. Yeah, he'll be serious again then after that. He doesn't need to be like all serious all the time because I think that's kind of funny.
Yeah, I
Guys,
do
let me
like
ask
go
you.
serious.
I do like the pairing. I'm just worried that MJF is like so special. I'm just like, don't ruin it, you know.
I
does
think
make
they're
me
gonna
laugh.
break up this on this next coming Collision.
Yeah.
I think it's over then. Even though
Let
they
me-
created another new shirt because their shirt is like the most selling shirt on
Okay,
top selling
so-
shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees.
That was my other point. Figure 4 online, Ryan Alvarez. He said, I think no matter what they do, they should keep them together. No matter what, whatever plans you gotta keep them
No
together.
matter what.
Yeah, he thinks
No
that.
matter what.
Yeah, like he's like people want to see them together. So what do you guys think? Like eventually break them up. He's like, but not right now.
I think they only want to see them together because they know it's going to end pretty
Right.
soon.
I'm like, how are you not getting that?
I mean, you got to get at some point you got to get Roderick Strong versus MJF to go along with the Adam Cole MJF storyline.
Well, we'll get into the end once
you got
once we
some matches you can.
once we get through the actual review of the match. They did some foreshadowing at the end of Adam with the belt and MJF
Well,
giving the
yes.
look.
So they did hit the double clothesline during this match.
I love that. I like
Yeah,
that.
that was a huge pop.
Huge double close. I
That
didn't
was
know
a
they were.
big-
I thought it was gonna be double clothesline, like they each like clothesline at the same time, but instead they
No.
held hands. And
It was
they
a finisher too.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy is MJF has gotten over, was it a headlock takeover, body slam, and now a double clothesline. Those are all super simple moves.
Yeah. Only MJF, I guess. So winners were MJF and Adam Cole. Afterwards, Cole would end up staring at MJF's title for a little bit, and this would not sit well with MJF. A little foreshadowing. FTR, the current AEW Tag Team Champions, would end up coming out and having a little exchange with the winners of the tournament. And then that would lead us to the Blood and Guts match.
Blood and guts.
Okay.
The
I
bed
will
of
say I
nails
don't
is
like that
real.
every single person had an entrance. Every single person had an entrance instead of like,
Didn't last time when they did it, like everyone else was just outside already?
I don't know.
Did you
Thought
guys?
that's how
There, there was
Did
a
you
bed
hear
of
me-
nails. There was tax.
Did you hear me throw that in
Yeah.
there real quick though?
The bed of nails was real.
It was real. It was fucking nails.
Yeah, I know.
I believe
Hey,
that.
like, this fucking bit.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
I just
like,
thought they
it
were like
wasn't
dull
like,
nails though.
Yeah, it wasn't like gimmick nails. It was like he did nails. Why?
I forget
Yeah.
who landed on it. Kenny?
Omega, yeah.
Yeah.
And also Moxley did too. But
I mean, obviously the match really started once Ibushi, the last man to get in,
he got a really
ended
good
up in
reaction. when
there.
it
He
came
got a
out.
good reaction. There was this one of the stories being told throughout the match was Pac and Claudio
Yeah.
not getting along during the match.
I feel
It was
like
okay. I think I liked it
Claudio's
better than the
problem.
last one, which was BCC versus JAS.
Yeah, it was better than that one.
But yeah, there was a lot of stuff. There was, like I said, there was tax. They got up. They climbed the cage, I believe.
Yeah, it was Matt Jackson and I think Yuta. I think
Yeah. Yuta, I can't. Dude, he does nothing for me.
he just got beat up this entire match though. Like,
Wheeler Yuta does nothing for me.
they also used glass before the thumbtacks too. Yeah,
Jeremy-
and then the bed of nails, which
Jeremy, you're impartial. Give the people at home. You know, Andy and I will crap all over Wheeler useless, but
What's your review of Blood and Guts?
what's your review of Wheeler?
I mean, well,
Oh,
the match
Wheeler?
or Wheeler Yuta.
I want to know what he thinks of Wheeler Yuta.
So at first when he joined the BCC, I kind of liked him, like, because they had him earn it, and he was like going through these intense matches. I don't know. He hasn't done anything since then, and he doesn't have any like special moves or anything about him. I think.
I guess the thing is they're trying to like pin him as this like tough guy shooter dude, and I'm like, I just don't get that.
Yeah.
vibe. I don't get that vibe. Was he like a
Dude puts
I
me to
think it's-
sleep talking.
It's also like his gear too doesn't really match his persona then. Like Moxley wears like, you know, sometimes the vest or like the hoodie and those things that make him look like it. But Wheeler Yuta still like wears like, I don't know, he doesn't like, he just wears his tights.
I just yeah.
I feel like he needs something else to go with it.
Need something, boss.
Yeah. But the overall match to me, I know you guys didn't like it, right? Or it's not your thing.
I liked it better than I thought I would.
I liked it better than I thought I would. I liked some of the spots. I mean,
Ibushi was a nice addition, I thought.
Yeah.
I'm a big Danielson and Claudio supporter, so I'm cool with. Actually, I told Andy I like Kota Ibushi.
Danielson wasn't even in it.
Or not? Yeah, sorry. But like, I like to be supportive of the people in that group, even though we kind of tease them all the time. But Ibushi at one time was one of my. I wouldn't say he was one of my favorite wrestlers, but he was contested in one of my favorite matches I had seen, which was against.
We still say, go watch him in the Cruiserweight Classic. Go watch all his matches in the Cruiserweight Classic.
Yeah,
Those are some of my favorites.
The one against Cedric Alexander is, I mean, it blew my mind in like 2015.
That and then him against. That one's the better of the two, but him versus Brian Kendrick after the years of Brian Kendrick not being in WWE was super good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are both good. I mean, for me, so like I like death matches, but not like all the time. So when they're big like this, I kind of like expect it to be like this. So to me, I liked it.
Now, do you? We're talking hardcore, cage weapons, but do you like death matches, like actual death matches?
Not so much like GCW. Is that what you mean? Like those ones where they're like light tubes.
You don't want to see like light tubes and like.
You like street fights and things, but you're not like
maybe like
match.
One or two light tubes spots. I'm like fine with, but like
or like those
ones where it's like the entire ring is surrounded by light tubes. I'm like, this is too much.
But you liked what they did. Like, what are the kind of matches that I know it's like a non-sanctioned match, but they don't call it that in AEW.
Lights out
match.
Lights out.
You're like fine with that. Where they have like the barbed wire contraptions and whatnot.
Those are fine. Yeah, the ones you see, like I know we send each other all those on Instagram all the time, like the ones that we see, especially with like what is it? I forget what's it's like they look like straw things that they put in people's heads and like smack them.
That's a new thing I'm starting to see. I don't get it.
It's the barbecue.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
Skewers. Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah.
You guys see on TV right now? It shows the X next to the tweet.
Yeah, see, I told you, it's so stupid.
Yeah, it's a big X symbol.
It's so dumb.
I did want to pick your brain, guys, while we're watching Dominic wrestle right now. So Damien has the Money in the Bank briefcase, Dominic has North American title, and Rhea has the Women's World Heavyweight title. Could Finn get gold at SummerSlam and then all four?
I think he should.
I had read that they're looking at the Judgment Day backstage as kind of the replacement for Bloodline, as like top faction, obviously because Bloodline's like done.
Yeah.
But they said they need another big group. Just a thought.
I like Finn as the top heel because I feel like he deserves that now.
Hopefully. I mean, you could get more matches out of Finn and Seth. But speaking of ending feuds, I hope BCC and Elite is done. That's what it was supposed to be with this Blood and Guts match, I believe.
They did say that, like, the commentators did say, like, it's over.
Okay, thank God. Let's get into SmackDown. United States Championship Invitational Fatal 4-Way, Rey Mysterio, Sheamus, Cameron Grimes, and LA Knight. Big pop for LA Knight as usual. However, he did not win the match. Winner was Rey Mysterio, who will be taking on his fellow LWO teammate, Santos Escobar. Winner will face Austin Theory at SummerSlam or on TV. I don't know. They got 2 weeks to build whatever.
Why do they need Mysterio to win this?
I don't know. Now, they are slow. I sent you guys the thing. They are slow to push
slow.
LA Knight. He is like his. Isn't it true that like WWE, like if you're the number one like merch sales guy, like that's kind of a big deal for them backstage.
Oh, one of the things that Brian Last was talking about, he's one of the number one. LA Knight's one of the number one, and Brian Last, not Brian Alvarez, who we were talking about earlier. Brian Last was saying that LA Knight is one of the biggest merch movers right now, and his shirt is not even good. It's a bad shirt. He's still moving
His
that
bad
shirt.
shirts. You said wait until he has the good shirts.
Yeah, wait till he has. He said, "Wait till he has a good shirt."
Yeah, I heard that. Look, is LA Knight the best wrestler in the world? No, not at all.
The
He's
Rock
very
wasn't.
average in the ring.
The Rock
Yeah.
wasn't
The
out
Rock
there
wasn't.
doing fucking Kurt Angle moves. You know, like
Yeah.
it's.
So
Yeah, I don't
the
understand
fear,
it too.
obviously, the fear is you don't want the hype to go away before they pull the
Yeah.
trigger. You know,
That's what I think is going to happen if they keep doing this. 'Cause-
like he's not even on SummerSlam so far. He's not even on the card.
Yeah, he's not on the card.
I guess what
I don't
we
know.
haven't seen in a long time, and I haven't seen since maybe like Cena, is once you get Roman. You know, I don't want to not be fair to Roman, but you know, when you're that over, right? Like when you're on that level that like LA Knight's getting to right now, which you know they start to call white hot. When you get the title,
Yeah.
how do you just stay like that over? Like the Rock won those belts years ago, and
You
he
do
just
it
like
by being able to be a good talker and keep people invested.
yeah, you got to keep talking.
If you can keep being entertaining, like Seth Rollins at one point was white hot. They gave him the belt, and then people died off. He's not a crazy good talker. I mean, he's better now.
Yeah.
But enough to keep people invested at that time when he got the belt, and then they paired him up with his wife, and then they were doing like, you know, mixed
Yeah,
tag
that was-
matches with Becky against Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans. Like,
What about what about
people
the
turn on him for the Fiend.
It's different because it's not a singles competitor, but what about the Acclaimed? The Acclaimed, they're still over, but not like
People
they were.
still like him.
Yeah,
they're
not
over.
like they did 3-4 months ago though. That was
Yeah.
like
The same with Sami Zayn and Kevin
Right.
Owens.
Well,
During the Usos feud,
Sami
they
Zayn.
were
yeah,
big.
that's same thing with them. They also both of those guys, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens and the Acclaim, all had really good matches when they first were getting really hot too. Like the Acclaim especially had that at I think it was All Out,
So then how do you?
and they
but
lost.
I guess
but-
what I'm saying is how do you? It always seems like in wrestling, not all the time, but it seems like the build, and we talked about the same thing on the show last year with Hangman Adam Page. His race, his build to get the title, felt good, and then when he won the title, it was like, like you just immediately were like over it. It's like the chase, like going
Yeah.
after a hot chick. The chase was better than when you finally got what
If Cody won the belt,
Not start
Cody
that
wins
against
the
them.
belt eventually from Roman. You know, how
Sky
does he
Blue.
stay in that spot? I think Cody's big with the kids though. Like I think he'd be like the John Cena-ish.
Yeah.
If he won the belt from Roman, that's how it would be a divided crowd eventually.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Cody can easily get to that point.
But point is, I hope they pull the trigger eventually with LA Knight and not let it burn out. But it could be one of those things that the fans will keep cheering till they get what they want. Kind of
Yeah.
like Daniel Bryan and whatnot.
Daniel Bryan.
So moving forward, Charlotte Flair defeated Io Sky and Asuka would attack afterwards. It was announced, and it's weird that it was announced like before the show even aired that at SummerSlam we're getting a triple threat for Asuka's title: Asuka, Charlotte Flair, and Bianca.
Yeah.
I always find that
That
weird
was
when
weird.
you could save it for TV and make a promo segment out of it, but they don't.
Yeah.
Santos Escobar would defeat Austin Theory. And then Lashley and Street Profits continued to tease forming a group. Dominic Mysterio defeated Butch in a North American Championship match. And then we ended the show with the Rules of Engagement segment. What do you guys think of this segment between Roman and Jay?
I thought it was pretty good. I
It
guess.
was good. At times I was like, this is kind of confusing. It was
Yeah,
almost
I
like you had to know, like it was like inside baseball of like this whole the elders and like
Okay,
Yeah,
that
that's
was
a good way to put
that
it,
was
yeah.
the only part I didn't like is when he was like, do the elders know about this? I was like, oh boy.
Yeah. So okay. So I'll read some of the stuff. So during this segment, he's calling Jay.
The Rock's sitting at a table with
He's
like
an elder.
with Alpha and Sika, and he's like, no, I don't think this is appropriate for the time.
So during this segment, Roman's literally sitting at the head of the table, and Roman's calling Jay Little Jay the whole time, kind of condescendingly. Jay would tear up the SummerSlam contract, and he said, "We don't need no contract. The contract is in the blood. This right here. This is tribal combat now."
Tribal combat.
And then Roman would look concerned, like he's thinking. He's like, "Fuck." He's like, "Do the elders know about this?" And Jay would say,
that was the only line of the
say-
whole thing that made me laugh.
Jay said, "It was their idea, Oos," before laying down the no holds barred rules for tribal combat. And apparently that
Is it
means
supposed to be like Black Panther? You know what I'm talking about? Like you fight to be the Black Panther.
it's winner take all.
Right.
Winner gets the belt, and they become the tribal chief.
But do you remember that scene in Black
Yes,
Panther?
trial
where
by combat.
he fights.
You kill
he fights
me.
the dude, and
Yeah.
then they
Yeah.
like becomes the new Black Panther or whatever.
It's like Black Panther. It's like Vikings. It's like
Yeah.
it's trial by combat. So Solo would attempt to attack, but Roman would stop in and grab his arm. Jay would end up super kicking Solo though, and there would be a stare down between him and Reigns to end the show. Not too bad. It was just when it was good, it was good. It was just there was parts I was like, what is going on?
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, they've done pretty well to keep the storyline.
To keep
It's
it afloat with Jimmy
Yeah.
being hurt, no more Sami Zayn, and the bloodline
Yeah.
slowly falling. It's eventually going to be Solo versus Roman, and then Roman's going to be on an island by himself.
right.
I feel like it's never gonna happen, but I love it. Every time we talk about the head of the table stuff, I just love that interview with The Rock where that reporter's like, is Roman, or who's the head of the table? And then The Rock goes, well,
Yeah,
without
the
saying
recent
too
one.
much, you're looking at him.
I wish it culminates to that eventually. I mean,
It would have been nice. Maybe it still can be. I don't know.
I'm
But
pretty sure
maybe-
Cody's facing Roman again this Mania.
Did you guys
Well, I was
see
gonna say maybe at this Mania.
Did you guys see the interview with Cena? It could have been recently. I didn't see the date on it, but he had like longer hair, so it had to be at least from the last year or two. Where somebody said, when you had your feud against The Rock, you were very judgmental against, just about his
Yeah, because
schedule.
he didn't realize the truth of it all, basically, of what it's actually like once you get up there in age. You can't do it forever, right? I believe that's what he was talking about.
Yeah, that was what he was saying because he did a whole rap basically about it.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing I wanted to say was that he apologized.
Yep.
And he said, I didn't realize that, I didn't understand that when you're making a movie, hundreds of people are depending on you for your job because they all need to make money too. And he's like, and if you get hurt, all these people don't have a movie to make.
He was
they
like,
don't-
why can't you just come in and out whenever you want, basically?
Yeah, he said,
Like,
you love WWE so much, why can't you just come here whenever, why can't you just make an appearance?
Yeah.
Or like, and, yeah, and I just thought it was interesting because he said straight up, he's like, I'm sorry. I was ignorant. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I was like,
Him and
"Man."
I believe those two are on good terms now. Obviously, they're in Fast and Furious and stuff together, franchise now.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, not anymore. John Cena died in the last one, but spoiler.
Bro,
Spoiler.
spoilers, bro.
It's been out for a while, all right?
Does Paul Walker come in?
I mean, really, the
All
car
right.
crashed itself. No one was really in the car.
Yeah, it was a car with no driver. You couldn't see the driver. You
Well,
just-
that's John Cena's car. You can't see the driver, so it was really just
Yeah.
him that ended up flipping. Why is this car driving itself?
Yeah.
All right, so that wraps up SmackDown. we finish off with 2 shows of AEW, I have a gripe to pick with AEW of something I read today.
Booker Andy has a gripe?
Uh-oh.
Not Talk Wrestling Tim? All right.
So, I read today that AEW turned down Bret Hart's offer to be an agent. They wanted him to be a manager, he wanted to be an agent, and they said no. To have a brain like Bret Hart's to be able to help talent and help produce stuff, and you say, no, we don't want you to be an agent, we just wanted you to be like a Tully Blanchard.
No,
Dude.
because they don't want his advice. I mean, that's it. They don't want it. Plain and simple. He's gonna tell him that this shit is
like
bullshit.
Heyman said, he's doing pretty good on his own.
I mean, he could have just been signed to Collision because half of those wrestlers idolize Bret Hart, anyways.
That was enough.
They turned down.
That could have been that. That
Bret
was a big fail
asked
on
to
their
be
part.
an agent. Like they didn't.
Yeah.
It's just I was like, what? It was like brilliant. Like FTR would be like, "Ah." They loved the Hards, dude. They loved that whole group.
Yeah.
No, but
It's just,
Maddie and Nikki were both like,
No, we don't want that. He's going to say that our wrestling's bad and it's stupid.
Heyman's like, I'm doing pretty good on my own. I
yeah,
don't need your
Hangman's like,
advice."
I got this. I got this, Mr.
He's
Funk.
like, don't worry about me.
So I read that today. I was just like,
No thanks,
he said,
No
"Who
thanks,
the
Mr.
fuck
Funk."
are you?
No thanks, Mr. Funk. I don't need your advice.
He's like, who the fuck are you? All right, Rampage. The main thing to take away from Rampage was the Royal Rampage match, which there was 2 rings because it was for Blood and Guts. 2 rings were
Yeah.
there, but there was a Royal Rampage match.
They were really riding
Basically,
that legal line with the whole royal thing. I was like, man, you guys are pushing it, aren't you?
So Battle Royal is a WWE owned phrase.
No, Royal Rumble is.
Battle War, not Royal, yeah.
Oh, but I thought did everyone start in the ring? I don't remember, or did they come out one by one?
I can't remember.
Was it more of a Battle Royal, or was it a Royal Rumble like thing? Okay.
No, you know what? I think they're all in
Our
the ring because
winner-
there's 2 rings.
Is Darby Allin, who gets a shot at the TNT title at All Out, which comes after All In, like 2 weeks later. They haven't
Yeah.
even started booking All In, but they're booking for All Out now. So All In is August 27th, and then All Out
Yep.
is like 2 weeks later.
They have just over a month to book all in.
Oh, here we go. Everything's gonna feel rushed. All right.
Hey, we got Collision. I don't know who's booking Collision, but I love you.
So yeah, Collision.
Punk's booking Collision.
Yeah, come on.
Collision's great.
We know
Love
we know who's really booking Collision. Let's be real here.
So
Punk
Collision's
runs it. He
good.
runs the show behind the scenes and everything there.
And I was telling Jeremy this, even though Collision has like the lowest ratings of the AEW shows, I guess from what Tim sent us,
Yeah.
they're smart though this upcoming week to book FTR versus MJF and Adam Cole onto Collision, get people there.
It's also funny, and maybe just.
Hey, if
hasn't
you're not
been
watching
long.
Collision, you're missing out.
You're missing out.
I'm just
You're
letting you
missing.
know that.
Yeah.
Besides SmackDown, you're missing out on the best
There's no
wrestling
filler.
show on TV. Just so y'all know.
There's no filler on in Collision. It feels like Ruthless Aggression SmackDown.
It's
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Everything flows into the next thing. There's no like randomly a match that doesn't make sense with the match that like it just is. It feels like wrestling, man. It feels good. It feels good, and I like it. I want me some more.
So, I know you guys like this opening segment. Ricky Starks opens the show. A bit of a heelish. Had no issue with him holding on to the ropes against Punk the week before. Punk would come out and basically just kind of sarcastically talk shit to him about, since you have no problem cheating, and I'm trying to see some quotes really quick of some of the stuff.
Before he walked out of the ring, he tapped him on the shoulder. He said, "Hey, that's fine." He's like you had to be the guy to cheat to win, and then he turns and like walks out of the ring.
Yeah.
And Ricky Stark just like gets mad, says something to him that pisses him off.
Yeah, it says about the bag.
Oh,
Christian and Luchasaurus, yeah.
He said that's about what? That's about as empty as a threat as that bag that you're carrying around or something like that.
Of what's in that bag, yeah.
Yeah.
That you carry around. But after Punk would come out and have a little exchange with Ricky Starks, Christian and Luchasaurus would come out. It's kind of growing on me, this whole Christian saying that he's the champion. He corrects himself constantly. He's saying we, and then he's like, he corrects it.
Yeah.
Even though
he's
wearing the title.
Do that look.
He's wearing the title when they come out. Like,
Yeah.
He's like, what kind of guy? What does he say? He's like, what? He says, what kind of guy walks around here to CM Punk? He's like, pretending to be a champion, to be a champion when he's not one. And then the crowd like starts moving.
Darby would come out though and talk about how Christian barely has wrestled or something like that.
Yeah, he doesn't wrestle anymore.
Yeah. So this would end
he
up.
was like, my good friend CM Punk, and I was like, that was a weird line from Darby.
Yeah. So this would set though a match for later, the main event actually. Ricky Starks teaming up with Christian against Darby Allin and Punk. It's weird that they're going with Ricky heel again.
Yeah, I know when you first saw that, you texted us like you thought Punk was turning heel.
The way he was saying, because I was like, Ricky Starks is definitely a babyface, I thought. And I read today that AEW is doing everything they can to keep Punk a babyface, or make him appear as a babyface, like on television.
Well, then he's got to stop. If they're gonna keep a babyface, he's got to stop roasting the local state's hockey team every time he comes out.
I know. He has too much fun doing that.
I mean, he needs a full heel turn soon. Acting like a heel and then teaming up with a babyface. You know, who's that fooling? No one.
Right. Yeah.
So that was the opening segment. I think they've opened up the show pretty well consistently since they started.
They also do those promos before the show even starts, like before the intro video.
Yeah. We had Trios championship match. House of Black defeating the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass in pretty quick fashion, actually.
Yeah.
Max Caster was about to say something to Buddy. He said Buddy's looking nauseous. And then Buddy did not want to hear him probably say something about Dominic and Rhea. So he books it out of the ring and hits Max Caster with a knee. I think he's a little fed up. But Billy Gunn would end up taking a pin, and Black whispered, Malachi Black would whisper something to Gunn before they left the ring. And this led to Daddy Ass taking off his boots and leaving them in the ring and kind of blowing by the Acclaimed. So we'll have to see where this goes from here.
Daddy Ass retiring.
Can't be the end. It can't be.
It's the end of Daddy Ass.
This was supposed to be his last championship for him.
Yeah.
But the way he was taking off the boots, good acting by him. It looked like he was like upset.
Yeah, he was like visibly upset and like almost like crying almost too.
Yeah. So I am interested to see what happens. Like I was telling you before, Jeremy, if you want to see House of Black, they're strictly on Collision. That's the way Malachi wanted it. He wanted people to know that if you tune to Collision, you'll definitely see House of Black. He wanted to be like one of the faces, I guess.
And then people were like,
You know,
"Damn,
like
I
a
should."
punk.
People were like, "Dang, I'm definitely not gonna tune into Collision then." I'm just kidding.
House of Black, though, had stolen Andrade's mask. And now next week, first they said next week is going to be Buddy Matthews versus Andrade. And then like one segment later, they said Buddy Matthews versus Andrade in a ladder match with Andrade's mask hanging.
It's
I thought I saw this funny tweet.
It's the Who's Got a Hotter
about
WWE.
that.
It's the match is actually Who's Got a Hotter WWE girlfriend on a pole match, and the winner goes up and picks it.
Speaking of hot girls, we had Sky Blue versus
There we go.
Taya Valkyrie.
Andy, you don't even have this on the notes.
I know.
Andy just
I
couldn't stop
remembered
thinking.
it.
Andy's like, I couldn't get her off my mind.
Also, you need to change your name. So
Sky Blue?
Sky
What's
Blue
wrong with
versus
Sky
Ty
Blue?
Valkyrie. I'll tell you off air. Sky Blue versus Ty Valkyrie. Ty Valkyrie would end up winning, and then I believe Mira was in action real quick against Nick Camarado, who actually lives in Bel Air. He lives in Harford County. My friend sold him a
Really?
car at Super. Yeah, crazy big guy. Kind of one of the only guys that can go like size-wise with Miro, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, our main event though is Christian Cage and Ricky Starks versus Darby Allin and CM Punk. CM Punk, speaking of next week being about Bam Bam Bigelow, CM Punk would do the Bam Bam Bigelow cartwheel in the middle of the ring, paying homage to him. He did like a cartwheel and then he like jumped up and like kicked his feet out. I don't know if to kick the feet out kind of thing.
Randy Orton?
No, it was a
I don't know.
Bam
The
Bam
cartwheel
thing,
is
too.
for Bam Bam Bigelow.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say because that made me think of. Remember when Randy did like that jump and he like
That was
touched
hilarious.
That was kind
Yeah.
of like it was.
his feet? That was
But-
wild.
Punk's gear changes every week. It's just like, how is he feeling? I just want to
Yeah.
know like what the thought process is. Like, I should wear these this week, or is he just rotating between the long boys? You know.
Well,
the,
he said if people
the
complain,
shorts.
if you complain about the long boys, he will wear the long boys. That's
Okay.
that's what he
I
said
like
originally.
long boys. I like
He
the
said-
shorts though. I like the
The fight
gym
shorts.
Yeah, those,
short
like,
kind of
boxer
things.
shorts.
Yeah, I like those a lot.
Because
I like those.
it's the classic CM Punk character that he used to wear basketball shorts, but it's like updated for 2023.
Too long.
It's cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
I mean, like
But
he used to wear like the Grayson Waller shorts.
Yeah, but that was very of the time. You know, the baggy basketball shorts. Now
Yeah.
he has like the modern day
Yeah.
version. Although he did look so sick when he wore that outfit when he came out with his ROH gear on and the AFI song. God, that was awesome.
Oh, and he actually did wear that classic one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Should
that
just
was
came out
awesome.
wearing a long-haired blonde girl. Oh, terrible. So what do you guys think of the main event, though? Christian and Ricky Starks versus Darby Allin and CM Punk. I thought it was good. Every main
That was a
event
good
so
match.
far has been pretty solid, I'd say.
Yeah,
For
I mean,
Collision.
most of them, other than like I think one had Punk in the main event, so seems to be a common factor of why they're so good.
Is this week 5 or 6 of Collision?
I think 5,
Hasn't
think
he
5.
been in every main event?
except for one when he was
Week 3.
I think he was on commentary.
And
That
he
was
did
week
lose
3, yeah.
one. He lost one.
Yeah.
Lost to Ricky
Hobbs.
last week. Yeah.
He's lost more in the Collision time that he did before in all of his AEW run before that.
Yeah.
So yeah, what you guys think of the match? Winners were Ricky Starks and Christian Cage. Where do you think Punk goes from here? What do you think? Do you think he feuds with Ricky? What do you think
Yeah,
happens
I-
with his belt? What do you think is going on with that?
I have no idea. Like he's not going to challenge for the title until MJF and Adam Cole are done.
Oh, that should be an all-in MJF
Yeah, it should
and
be.
Punk again, but this time for a title.
Oh, MJF and Punk. They got to hurry up on Adam Cole then.
I want Punk and
Or
Adam Cole too.
or Adam Cole does it on All Out. He gets like the winner.
Booker,
But either
Jeremy.
way, yeah. Either way, I like the ending of this match because Ricky Starks cheated again to win, and I don't know. I think that's just like he got like another one over on Punk, which I thought was kind of cool because he's gonna lose the feud in the end.
Yeah. So yeah, Tim, any thoughts? This match.
I like the match. I weirdly was before they turned it into a tag. I was hoping that they were gonna make it like a fatal 4-way type scenario, but I like the tag. It was good.
There were some signs in the crowd. CM Chump
Junk.
was one.
Oh yeah, wasn't there
Cry
one about
More,
John Cena?
Cry More Punk was
Yeah.
also another
I
one.
saw one that said John Cena is a con artist.
Yeah, I did see that one too. It really
That
confused
was
me.
so random.
I was like, it's like, what? He's not even an active wrestler anymore.
Yeah.
Some guy. I don't know why that's so funny. Some fucking guy went out of
That's
his
usually
way.
con art.
He spent 45 minutes drawing that sign. It was that important to him.
He's like, I know John's watching. It's like a guy that hasn't seen wrestling forever. He's like, John Cena's still here, right?
I just can't. I'm sorry. It struck me as so funny that guy took the actual time to do that and
He's
then
like,
roll it up
this will show him.
and then bring it to the show.
You're like, dude, first off, wrong year. Secondly, wrong company.
Yeah.
John Cena's a con artist. What does that mean?
I don't know what that means.
It's like
He
if
got
someone had a
catfished online by someone posing as John Cena. Like that guy that attacked Seth Rollins.
Yeah, he just hates John Cena now.
It's like if someone was like holding an Austin 316 sign in the crowd. You're like, okay.
That's why they probably didn't even take the sign away.
Die, Rocky,
they probably
die.
saw it. Yeah.
John Cena is a god
They probably
artist.
just saw the sign. Yeah. They're like, who cares?
God.
He's like,
Forgot
he
about
said
this
he
sign.
did.
Thanks for bringing that up.
He did 1,256 Make-A-Wishes, and he says that he only did 1,257.
He's a fucking con artist.
He's a fucking god artist. God,
All right, well, that wraps up the show. Tim, you want to take us out?
Yeah. Classic show of the week is an interesting concept. I'm going to take you
Tim's
all.
getting tired.
I am. I'm getting a little sleepy. I'm taking you all the way back, almost 20 years ago. The year was 2004, and this show was called Taboo Tuesday. Not only was it an interesting concept because it was a Tuesday night pay-per-view, but the fans actually voted for what the matches were going to be. So, every match beforehand had a choice, and the fans could. This is very early in the .com era. You could tell by they were really trying to push this whole internet thing 20 years ago. It's funny, like they're like, you can log on now on your computer and actually do this. Isn't that crazy? You know,
Yeah.
here we are. You can do anything.
I remember that pay-per-view.
Yeah, you can do it all from your phone right now if you wanted to. So, some interesting matches here. All right, we got Shawn Michaels versus Triple H. You got Randy Orton versus Ric Flair. You got Edge and Chris Benoit against La Resistance. Eugene against Eric Bischoff. If you guys want to skip the
Eugene.
yeah, if you want to skip the Eugene match, guys, I don't blame you. It hasn't aged well. Molly Holly versus Trish Stratus, who, Trish Stratus currently on television. Chris Jericho versus Shelton Benjamin, and Muhammad Hassan, speaking of characters that haven't aged well, for Sergeant Slaughter.
Oh, no. Oh, that match.
Oh, the one where he yeah, that one's really rough. The boot camp match, really, yeah. He didn't kill him.
Yeah.
He was just off TV for
He
a while.
didn't kill him. Oh, my God.
So yeah, Taboo Tuesday 2004. I remember watching that DVD all the time as a young middle school lad.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, I had it. It was one of the only ones I had. I don't know why. I would watch that and like WrestleMania 20 and like wrestling VHS tapes like over and over again. But yeah, guys, that wraps it up for episode 92. That's 92, right? That is
Yes.
92. Yeah, we are on the road to 100. We're going to get our buddy Bro Keller on the show for episode 100, so stick around for that in about
Nice.
in about 2 months, I guess. It's looking like 8 weeks. And what else are we going to do? Oh, Bro actually told me a secret. Well, I learned it from somewhere else, but I wanted to ask him. I'm not going to tell you guys.
You
'cause
confirmed it with it.
You confirmed it with it. I can't tell you guys the recipe, but I found out how wrestlers keep their hair wet for so long and why it stays wet in the match. As a barber, I found it very interesting. So
That's pretty cool.
I got a little recipe for the quote unquote workers spray, as they say. So, yeah. So, bro, thank you for that, buddy. Hey, we will be back next week. Was episode 93. Andy's got his puppy on camera. Everybody have a great week. Look at that dog's face. You can't have a bad week with looking at that face. Bye-bye, everybody. Take care.